Hello YouTube, and welcome back once again to another trip report on the Flying Kiwi channel. My name is Robert, and I am doing something a little bit different this time around. I'm doing a bit of a voiceover for the first time on my channel, so do let me know how I get on. Any feedback is very much welcomed in the comments. Now onto the flight. Before we make the short hop across the pond from Philadelphia to London tonight, here is my incoming connecting flight from Kansas City to Philadelphia on an Embraer E190 aircraft. Enjoy.
Until the captain has turned off that sign. If and when you don't turn off that sign, that will be the indication it's safe to get a loop on the cabin and collect all your belongings. If you are making a connection here in Philadelphia, you can go to aa.com from your phone to view your flight connections or view.
Once again, I'd truly appreciate it if you jumped over onto my account and checked out that previous trip report. It is the previous video uploaded to this one. Once again, it's a full flight with American Airlines from Kansas City to Philadelphia. But now on to tonight's flight. After getting off, since I was flying with American, I didn't need to change terminal, so I found a nice quiet spot to go on one of the many iPads dotted around Philadelphia's airport to check on the status of my flight. And unfortunately, it was delayed by a couple of hours, so that, on top of the hour and a half I already had, gave me plenty of time to kill in the terminal. Now there really seemed to be countless iPads around the terminal, and the way they worked is you'd place an order for food, and the order would be sent to one of these restaurants like Prime here in front of me. They'd make up the food and bring it to your table. They're also good for checking the internet as well as playing games if you have any children. Unfortunately, I've only been to Philadelphia twice, and on both occasions it's been during the night, and unfortunately their tinted windows make plane spotting a bit of a nightmare here. This is about the best view I could get of the apron. I did try though. I would also love to come back during the day at some point. And welcome this evening to seat 9A, a seat I originally booked when booking through the internet. I paid a little bit extra for the seat, about $50, to try and get this nice ring view up the front of the cabin. I normally pick seats towards the front of the cabin to stop people reclining into me. The legroom, as you'd expect on any long-haul aircraft, was fantastic, and in the seat back pocket in front there wasn't anything too surprising, just the normal safety card and onboard magazine. After just a few minutes, it quickly became apparent that the flight was going to be nowhere near full, and spotting 3 empty bulkhead seats just one row in front of me, I snapped up the opportunity, jumped up and asked one of the amazing flight crew if I could indeed move forward one row and take the bulkhead. So hello once again from seat 8A this time, and in the seat pocket on the wall in front of me it was exactly the same as 9A. Now I didn't feel too bad jumping forward a spot to take the bulkhead. The whole road was basically empty except for one bloke in the middle. I did pay a little bit extra anyway to sit one row behind, and just the usual amenities, a pillow and a blanket provided. And also look at all that extra legroom.
on the top of the buckle. And remember, seatbelts should be fastened whenever you're seated, just in case of unexpected turbulence.
Great, can I do anything?
To get us on our way, make sure your seat is up, all electronic devices are put away, and your tray table is stowed. If you have a carry-on, push it all the way under the seat in front of you. If it won't fit, place it in the overhead bin.
I think you'll agree that was a rather terrific departure left over Philadelphia as we turned up the eastern seaboard of America towards Newfoundland. Now, one of the waypoints was John F. Kennedy Airport, and over the left-hand side of the aircraft we got a wonderful view of Manhattan. Now, since the flight was delayed by a couple of hours, the flight crew got right on with the dinner service once we got on board, skipping over the first drink service as there were plenty of hungry faces on board. I decided to go with the pasta over the chicken tonight.
I will get ahead of you guys.
The meal itself was pretty standard for American Airlines, as well as all economy food. The pasta was a little dry in places, but that's to be expected in the microwaves they cook it in. Overall, it was pretty tasty, especially with the salt they provide you, and that came with a cracker, a bit of salad, which was a little dry without the added olive oil there, some butter, some cheese, a roll, some water obviously, and a little dessert cake. Now, as I relaxed back in my chair with my Nintendo Switch and a bit of brain-dead TV on the television, the flight crew did come around and serve that first drink service we missed before our meal. Now, on the day I flew, there was a NOTAM out across the entirety of the eastern seaboard warning about severe turbulence, and even though we're out over the Atlantic at this point, that severe turbulence seemed to follow us, and I encountered some of the roughest flying I've ever seen in my 20 years. The flight deck did descend us 3,000 feet, which really smoothed out the flight, giving me an opportunity to head back to the lavatories and have a look at the facilities. And at this point in the flight, we're about 2 hours in and everything seemed pretty clean. Just the basic amenities for your standard economy class toilet, baby changing table, a lavatory, a mirror for yourself to look in. Nothing to write home about, but yeah, pretty solid for an economy class toilet. Sitting up at the bulkhead, the screens are a little bit different to what you might be used to in your normal seat back. The screens themselves are contained on a long arm between the two chairs, which you have to pull up yourself, and the tray table for you to eat your meals is found here, once again in your armrest. It can be a little bit finicky to get it out, but once that is pretty sturdy and does the job pretty well. When putting it away, just watch your fingers, they can easily get trapped. Now, my one gripe with the seat is the headphone jack, which is found between the arm of the screen and the arm of the chair. There's not a whole lot of room, especially for a big headphone jack like mine. I did struggle to pull it in and out. I felt like almost the cable was getting damaged, being compressed between the two. The in-flight entertainment itself was full of movies and TV, as you'd come to expect with American Airlines and any one-world carrier really. Unfortunately though, the screens were a little bit dated and the touch wasn't the best. There'd often be quite a long delay between the input and the screen catching up, which would often cause a bit of confusion as I accidentally double-click and select a TV show that I didn't actually want to watch. Eventually though I did get used to it, and once I did get used to it I found navigating it to be okay. It did take a little bit of time, but it was more than made up for by the huge array of movies, TV shows and songs available with American Airlines. Now, one thing that was quite funny and came as a result of our delay was the fact that the winds changed to be more in our favour on our flight, making a 6-hour flight more like a 5.5-hour flight, which meant after one quick movie we were already flying into the sunrise just south of Iceland, fast approaching the west coast of Ireland. On the topic of our delay, back in Philadelphia, I must say American Airlines really treated us kindly after our delay. None of the airport's restaurants seemed to be open so late at night, but they did manage to wheel out a cart full of snacks and drinks and kept us very well informed at the gate, so that we always knew exactly where our replacement aircraft was as they flew up from Charlotte, North Carolina. Roughly 45 minutes out from landing at Heathrow, the cabin crew came through one last time to do a quick drinks run, as well as handing out these little breakfast boxes which turned out to be really nice. They featured a little apple cinnamon muffin, some dried fruit, muesli and a blueberry yogurt. The breakfast boxes were a really nice touch, especially when you compare them to other One World legacy carriers such as British Airways, who only hand out little muesli bars as their breakfast option. After descending over the west coast of Wales, over Bristol and just south of Swindon, we finally got our first glimpse of London Heathrow to the north. Once again, thank you guys for joining me on the short hop across the Atlantic Ocean today with American Airlines on the A330. I do appreciate all the support you guys show me, and I would very much welcome some feedback, specifically looking at this type of trip report with me voicing over some certain aspects instead of putting text up on the screen. I've seen quite a few trip reporters around YouTube adopting this way of doing things. I just want to get your opinion and kind of ascertain whether I should continue doing trip reports like this. I would also firmly encourage you guys to take a look at the channel. I will be uploading fairly regularly in the coming months, whenever university permits it. I'm rather busy at the moment. I do have some trips planned this year, as well as 2 more transatlantic flights, so please keep an eye out for those. I've once again been Kiwi Rob, and I'd like to wish you all many happy onward journeys.